So recently, BuzzFeed wrote an article which could potentially sink President Trump. I know that is a bold, bold claim, but let's get into the details. Now, first, before I do that, there are some major caveats here that need to be addressed. We'll talk about those. But if correct, the details are damning. Now, this, of course, has a lot to do with President Trump allegedly ordering Michael Cohen to lie to Congress on his behalf. So, look, that's big news, right? Now, Aaron Blake, writing for the Washington Post, kind of breaks it down, and I'm going to read that. They said that if this is true, this would be, quote, an event so cut and dried that even Republicans would be hard-pressed not to consider impeachment. Now, look, for me, I see that and I'm like, I don't know about that. Let's be honest. In my experience, you should probably never try to hold Republicans up to a high moral standard. They're Republicans. Of course they don't have a high moral standard. So that claim in itself is, I don't know, but okay, it's got to be something really, really bad. So, well, let's get the details, right? Now, as I said before, BuzzFeed broke the story Thursday night about the alleged Trump request. Now, they said the lie that Cohen told is the one that he had pleaded guilty to. So he's saying, look, I pleaded guilty to this. I'm getting jail time for this. So I'm serving time. And this is, and look, giving him the details about Mueller, I should say, giving Mueller the details about all this stuff is actually how I got a plea deal. Okay. Well, then, here's the thing. Now, this is about efforts to secure a Trump Tower Moscow, right? So what he did is that he lied about Trump Tower Moscow. Now, BuzzFeed also reports that not only did Cohen tell Mueller's team that Trump told him to lie, but that Mueller had evidence of this before confronting Cohen. So it's not necessarily, if this is true, based on the word of Michael Cohen, which is sketchy as best, right? Because, look, Michael Cohen, he has lied before. He's lied to the Mueller team. He's lied to the American public on behalf of President Trump. He is a serial liar, so why would you believe him? He's a snake. I've said it before. Well, if Mueller has the receipts, and Mueller came at him already knowing this information and say, look, I got you. I got you dead to rights, Michael Cohen. And how about we make a deal, and you can tell me more about what's going on? So you can make this obstruction of justice case. And that's what this is about. So if he's got those goods, well, then this could be potentially devastating. However, as I said before, big caveats before everybody gets too excited. Now, one of these caveats is that this information, this scoop from BuzzFeed, is based on two anonymous federal law enforcement officials involved in an investigation of the matter. Oh, okay. Well, uh-oh. Now, we've gotten burned before on some of these anonymous officials, so I would take that with a grain of salt. The second thing is Cohen's team isn't actually confirming it. So that's also a bit of a red flag. So when it comes to this being a potential bombshell, it could be huge. But it also could be nothing because it might not even be backed up. So those are things that you should definitely be aware of when talking about this story. Nonetheless, this could be really, really big. And look, we don't know what evidence Mueller has because Mueller hasn't come out with his report. However, this report does make it sound like that Mueller does have those goods. Now, here's the key part in that. They said the special counsel's office learned about Trump's directive for Cohen to lie to Congress through interviews with multiple witnesses from the Trump organization and internal company emails, text messages, and a cache of other documents. Really? Now, if that's true, that sounds like a lot of evidence. Not only that, but according to the report, Cohen acknowledged those instructions during his interview with that office, with the office of the special counsel. So, okay, well, that's interesting. Now, again, let's get into more details here, right? Collusion and obstruction of justice are crimes that are subject to interpretation. So that could work in Trump's favor or not. Now, Trump's team and many Republicans in Congress, which of course you would need to persuade in order to vote for impeachment, that's what this is about, are basically interpreting the Comey firing as not obstruction. And they're saying, well, look, I know what he said. He said he fired Comey because of the Russia thing, but maybe it's because it makes him uncomfortable. Well, okay, well, I can see why it would make him uncomfortable, especially if he actually did it. But okay, say you're a Republican and you're really skeptical about this, and you're saying, look, the president, yes, he could have fired Comey because of that, but he also could have fired Comey for a lot of different things, as the president does have a lot of leeway when it comes to hiring and firing people. And look, to be fair, President Trump had a show and basically where he said, "You're fired." That was his tagline. So, yes, if you ignore a lot of this stuff that was found, if you're a Republican, pretty much putting your fingers in your ears and your head in the sand, you can say, okay, look, he has got a lot of leeway. And he just did it because he didn't like Comey. Okay, fair enough. Now, the Trump Tower meeting is another thing, right? Now, to me, it's collusion. That is, at least it is a very big attempt at collusion. Okay, no question, right? Now, to some others, since there was possibly no information exchanged in that meeting that we know of, and we can't say for sure, they could make an argument that, hey, man, look, we were trying to collude, but we didn't actually collude because they didn't have anything worth using. So no crime there. Now, for me, it's like, well, wait a minute. Wouldn't you get arrested for or get in trouble for for planning to rob a bank? That, for me, it seems like if you're planning to rob a bank, you got the getaway car, you got the mask, you got the guns stockpiled, you got the plans all there ready to go. You would think that you would be arrested for trying to rob a bank. Well, Don Jr., he was at the Trump Tower meeting with the full willingness to take help from the Russian government when it comes to, I don't know, trying to get dirt on Hillary Clinton. That was the whole point of the meeting. And he's like, I didn't get anything from it, so I guess I didn't end up robbing the bank. But I was planning on it if there was an opportunity. But I guess the bank just didn't have enough money or whatever. Well, it still says you did something wrong, or at least you wanted to do something wrong. Okay, anyway. But now, the other problem here, right, is that according to the Justice Department, their guidelines, a sitting president cannot be indicted. So even if Mueller had the evidence to be able to indict the president, he can't due to the Justice Department. Now, that unfortunately leaves us into the hands of Congress. Now, in Congress, you would need 2/3 of the Senate, or at least 20 Republicans, to remove Trump from office. Right now, the GOP base loves Donald Trump. So if there isn't clear and irrefutable evidence of criminal wrongdoing, and I think maybe we could find that in the emoluments clause, Republicans will just shrug their shoulders. That brings us to this. Apparently, asking someone to lie, however, if proven, is not up for interpretation. That is clearly a felony. Now, that makes this report potentially problematic for Donald Trump. Now, look, even Trump's own Attorney General nominee, William Barr. Now, William Barr, I've got a million problems with William Barr. And I thought, oh, great. Trump's going after the guy, or I'm sorry, Trump is appointing the guy that preemptively wrote a letter criticizing the Mueller investigation. Well, it's over. Well, no, apparently not. At least if you can believe William Barr, which I don't. But he said during his confirmation hearings that that instructing someone to lie on your behalf to Congress is a crime, even as if you're a sitting president, which shouldn't matter. It's a crime. So this would be, and not only that, but he has also argued that in that memo criticizing Mueller's obstruction of justice probe, that this would be a crime. So if it is found, that Cohen did indeed lie to Congress on behalf of President Trump, well then, there it is. Now, whether or not that's enough to convince Republicans, I don't know. But let me give you that quote in Barr's 2018 memo. He said, if a president knowingly destroys or alters evidence, suborns perjury, or induces a witness to change testimony, or commits any act deliberately impairing the integrity or availability of evidence, then he, like anyone else, commits the crime of obstruction. Now, when asked by Senator Lindsey Graham this exact question, so if there was some reason to believe that the president tried to coach somebody not to testify or testify falsely, i.e. Cohen, that could be obstruction of justice. To which Barr said, yeah. He also then confirmed again to Senator Amy Klobuchar, who asked pretty much the same question, like, hey, so if you send someone to lie on your behalf to Congress, is that not a crime? To which Barr said, absolutely it is. Okay then. Now, however, the whole problem rests with relying on Republicans adhering to a higher standard. And who knows if Barr himself was being honest about his position. You can definitely lie in a confirmation hearing, we've seen it before, and then take a completely different position once you get the job. So having to rely on William Barr and Republicans to be honest and to actually care about the law, I'm sure there are some that do, but whether or not that would be enough, I don't know, man. I don't know. Lots of caveats here, lots of problems with this. So I remain cautious. And we'll see. We'll see. But there is also potential here to stick Trump for doing criminal activity and clear obstruction of justice. And so that is an impeachable offense. And we'll see if Republicans have enough integrity, to be able to do it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Look, if Mueller does have the actual evidence in the form of text, emails, and organization witness statements, well, they could have a real case that at least maybe possibly enough Republicans can ignore. But again, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. TikTok? Maybe. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a patreon.com/TYTNation set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.